Why have a chateau if you aren't going to share it? Our first friends started to arrive, including violinist and composer Clem, who came by ferry from the UK. Next there was Camille, who was our painter in residence for an entire month, and then from Paris came Lucille and Alexandre, who's also an architect.
Tu veux un verre?
Oui!
Peraí, qual que era o truque pra tirar ela depois?
Você tem a sua própria gárgula. You have your own gargoyle.
Got a couple.
Right? Isn't that insane?
Né, antes de qualquer coisa, tem que segurar a rolha. Tem que segurar a rolha. Seguinte.
But it wasn't all fun and games. Each of our wonderful friends had something to offer when it came to helping with the chateau. So our two architects headed down to the cave to get started on a survey of the entire house.
E qual que é a altura da janela?
O recesso ele começa ali, aquela altura é 1,50. Você botar uma... (5,48). Tem uma diferença grande para outra?
A outra tá com 5,62.
Porra. Eu paguei lá de dentro.
Isso.
Aqui não tem esse... Nice possessions here.
This process took days, and it was just the beginning. So on that note, let's continue our inspection of the chateau and analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of La Ferté.
So this is our back kitchen, or Butler's pantry, or buanderie in French, also the access to the cave. This is definitely in the ugly category, as we have old fixtures still standing, like an old water heater, and the core of the house's electricity that needs to be completely redone. Adrian has done a really good job connecting the old wiring to some new wiring, but this tableau électrique that we have here, these are not French code. For insurance purposes, also as we want to expand the réseau, how do you say réseau?
System.
As we want to expand the system, we have to start pretty much from scratch. But for now, we're really thankful that Adrian had the time to redo so many elements. By the way, when we're talking about plumbing, electricity, etc., we're gonna go into way more detail further on in future videos. Now we're just having a, what do you say?
Overview.
Now we're just having an overview.
Uh-oh.
It's probably stopped recording, right? Alright, so here we're underneath our future kitchen in what we think it was the original kitchen. We can see that because there's an open fireplace, the walls have been rendered. Now this will definitely go in the ugly category, as you can see by these beams. They are really not in good shape. Right here we have a metal support because the whole part that was going into the walls has been eaten away. The same thing on the other side. They're hanging on by a thread. We have some reinforcements that have been here for, I don't know, a really long time because they have been already eaten by termites or something else. On top of that, we have some reinforcements that were probably made by Adrian. Seeing that so many reinforcements have been made, at one point we have to say enough is enough. So if you want to have a brand new kitchen on top of this with a tomate as the floor, these terracotta tiles are pretty heavy. They're like 4 centimeters thick. We're thinking that here we'll have to replace these beams entirely. This is one of the tomates that used to lie on the kitchen's floor. See how thick? They're pretty heavy as well. Alright, so here we're right underneath the Grand Salon, the golden room. The beams are also in really bad shape. They've been rotted, eaten, you name it. There are some reinforcements that have been made by Adrian. If you guys have followed his channel, you probably saw the videos where he was doing this kind of work. The most critical parts are the parts where the beams meet the exterior walls. That's where the humidity has completely rotted the beams. This wall was created in order to alleviate the charges from these beams. I'm not sure about this method. It certainly works. One of the issues with this wall is that we have a couple of openings here that leads to the balcony right in front of the Grand Salon. This is very important for the ventilation of this room. And when you look inside these openings, we have a terrarium situation, plants growing, and we cannot access that space in order to, I don't know, get rid of them. As I said previously, enough is enough when the elements have been so corroded through time. Here we will either totally replace the beams, creating new porticos so we can distribute the weight more evenly, or even create extra supporting beams between the 2 existing ones. This is something to be discussed, to be seen with engineers and charpentiers alike.
Cool.
Now here we're right underneath the staircase, and this is definitely on the ugly, very ugly category. Just like underneath the kitchen, we have massive structural problems. You can see there's some metal posts that have been put here since a pretty long time, it seems. We also have traces of an infestation of mushrooms. Right here we'll have to do a complete redistribution of the charges, as we have 2 main beams. We have one for the staircase, there's right there, and another one for the floors. Maybe we'll add more beams. Maybe we'll just replace this one. Still, we're gonna see that with professionals. And who knows, we might even need to put a post in the middle of the room. Down here, space is not a problem, so we can put posts whenever we need. The most important thing is to guarantee the stability of the house. Besides all that, our cave is in pretty good shape. It's very clean, mostly dry. The first floor, it's surélevé. That means that it's well ventilated, and this is really important in a space like that. Now, a great feature about this house is that we have a brand new thermodynamic water heater. Thanks to Adrian and Carol, we have 400 liters of hot steaming water. Now, I said mostly dry. Drainage around the house, it's not perfect. So when we have a lot of rain, and if I don't air out the cave, places like this one just get really, really damp. This is another thing that we're gonna have to tackle in the future. Here we are at the south-facing balcony. The whole thing has shifted au fil des années. You can see that by naked eye. You see this leaning piece right here. The joints have been remade. I don't know how stable they are. And as we have previously spoken, this is our accidental winter garden. And here we have this balustrade that is leaning over to this side. We also have these stone slabs that are caving in that we definitely need to get fixed. So this is on the ugly side. Right behind me, we might have the ugliest thing on the outside, which are the brand new extraction units for our heating system. These were installed right on the money-making facade. Our idea here is to put them on the other side, away from the building. And we definitely will have to hide them, maybe build a shed. This is something we're working on right now. So this is the reality of our Ravalement, or exterior rendering. This is a mineral rendering, which is covering our stone walls. Our stone walls are not the prettiest. That's because they were never meant to be seen. So, you have some bricks, you have some fillers, some stones have come loose. The Ravalement is something that we'll need to tackle, and this is extremely expensive. We're talking about like tons and tons of render that we need to apply to these walls, and these are done by specialists. They need to be done with very specific mixture so it would allow the walls to breathe. By the late 19th century, early 20th century, they would do these renderings with cement, and this was awful because the house couldn't breathe and you have problems with mold inside and everything that comes with. So this is what we're talking about when you say crumbling castle. One of the interesting things about this house is the variety of materials used in the facade. We have a soubassement of granite, or granité, as they said. It's not exactly granite. Then we'll have our stone walls covered in our mineral render right here. Granite again. Tuffeau, which is a very soft stone that doesn't come from this region. It comes all the way down from the Anjou by the margins of the Loire River. This was quite trendy at the time. Also, it wasn't very expensive because it's really easy to work. The only problem is, 200 years later, it's just crumbling. Now, the roof on the north side, it has seen better days. We don't know when it was the last time that was reworked. Since we got here, we had some pretty tough leaks. Throughout the past week, we just had roofers come and fix the nous, which are the joints between the roofs right there. We have a chimney that it's leaning pretty hard. Not only that, the mortar between the bricks are gone. This is something that will have to be completely disassembled and reassembled and put back in. We talked a little bit about our windows. Our windows go from bad to horrible. They're in various states of decay. Broken glass, the structural integrity is gone, you name it. There's also on the ground floor, especially facing south, these volets extérieurs. These exterior shutters were probably added in the beginning of the 20th century. This was probably made to make the house safer. Unfortunately, they're in really bad shape, rusting, and this is all lead paint for sure. In spite of all these problems, this house is magnificent. We like it just the way it is. It's beautiful to see how the time has treated this house and how we can turn the clock back with our renovation. It's also incredible to see how the proportions were thought out in this house, because this is not a very big chateau. You probably have seen much larger, but it's definitely impressive. The location, the ground floor being a bit over the natural ground, the height of the ceilings, everything conspires to make this look much bigger than it really is.
Before we go, we wanted to share a very different kind of structure we discovered while researching the architecture of Mayenne. With Clem in tow, we had an expert to explain the significance of this very special spot. Just a short drive and quick hike away is the impressive Le Petit Vieux Sioux, a megalithic burial site dating from approximately 2,400 years BC.
Someone's like weeded this. There is a kind of long barrow that was the same shape as the houses where these original, like the Neolithic people came from, which is in Central Europe. And I always like that because I think if you were a displaced population and you were feeling nostalgic, you'd bury your dead in like home, you know. So it was a very seasonal life, and you'd probably come here once a year. All of your ancestors from your family would be here, and you'd rearrange. They often had like all the long bones together, all the skulls together, and there'd be some kind of ceremony where you, I guess, respected your ancestors. So that's why I like Neolithic, because it's about family and it's before metal. I think there was metal going on in Spain at this time. They had copper, but here it was still quite communal living and just living off the land, like living with the seasons, and nice.
No money, just trade.
Just trade and families.